Hello, hello. So I am going to make this video in the hopes of fixing, at least not necessarily fixing, but a workaround for everybody that is having trouble getting their shifters to work. At least the generic shifters to work in Assetto Corsa Rally that just came out. The name brand shifters apparently work. However, if you have a generic one, no name brand, it does not work due to programming issues. However, I have figured out a workaround that should work for you. The, this is actually not the reason why I did it. So what I was running into was the way that the game is, there's two settings, for shift up and shift down. And I want my paddles to work on my steering wheel as shift up and shift down. But what that means is I can't have my sequential also be shift up and shift down at the same time, right? Because I'm one of those people, like when I'm mid corner and my steering wheel is upside down, that I might need to use the sequential to grab that next gear instead of trying to use just the paddles. And I'm not real big on using just the sequential either, so that's why I figured this out. However, like I said, I think it's going to fix, or at least create a workaround for everybody else. So this is what you do. You're going to download SimHub, and SimHub is this application right here that you can see on my screen. Now, as long as you have the most up-to-date version, Assetto Corsa Rally is in it already. If you have an older version, it won't appear, so you'll need to update it so that this will be able to register. Once you have the updated version, it'll be right here on the list. You can just click it. You'll just make sure that that is up to date and installed so that the game can actually work correctly with SimHub. Now, what you're going to do, there's a few steps you got to do here. So you're going to hit the controllers tab over here on the left. And you can see I have a handful of controllers for my pedals, the wheelbase, etc., my shifter. Now, it should automatically recognize these. You shouldn't have to do anything. You can turn them on and off. But you definitely want to make sure that your shifter, hopefully, is showing up in here. Now, once you have that controller on this list, you're going to want to go and download VJoy, Victor, Juliet, Oscar, Yankee. And I can show you right here. See, there we go. So I actually just Googled VJoy and went to the first one. It's at sourceforge.net. Downloaded that. Once you have that, get it installed. It's going to show up right here as a controller. Okay. Now there's a reason for that, and we're going to get to it. So once all your controllers are on here, as far as your shifter and VJoy, you need to have control mapper right here turned on. By default, this is not turned on. So the way that you're going to do it, camera is actually in the way. Let me turn that off. Down here, you can see add and remove features. You're going to click on that. You can't see the window that pops up because of the way that I'm capturing it, but on the list in the window that pops up, you'll see one that says control mapper. Turn that on and then click OK. Once you turn that on, it's going to appear over here on the left. So now we have control mapper. Okay. By default, it's going to be in disabled mode. So you're going to want to put it on VJoy mode. Over here on the right, it says source controllers. By default, there's not going to be anything here. You'll have to hit add new source controller, and then you'll select your shifter. Okay. Now, once you have that added, you're going to click the drop down. You're going to hit map controller because there's not going to be anything here by default. You're going to hit map controller. So on this screen, you got shift up and shift down. You're gonna hit the click to assign button. When you do that, it's gonna open up a little thing. Just for instance, I'm gonna click this one, right? And you'll activate your shifter, right? So if you're doing, shift up, you'll click the button, you'll pull your shifter back, right? Just tell it to do a short press for the action here. And then same thing on shift down, short press. Once you have those two things, you're going to click OK. All right, so now you have the two of them on underneath the controller, those two actions. Let me fix this back so that you can see it. There we go. So we've got those two actions. Okay, that part's done. Now over here, this is where it kind of gets a little tricky. Okay, over here on the left, you've got to do a couple of things. First things first, you're going to scroll down. You're going to click this assign roles button. Man, it's doing it again. Hold on. Okay. Now when this opens up, you're going to click keyboard. Okay. And then you're going to hit add key emulation. I know you can't see it, and I'm so sorry that my screen is so big and it's so small right now. But click add key emulation. Now, when it's going to be blank and it's going to want you to select assign a key, click the three little dots to the side of it and then go to other. You can change the buttons to whatever you want, but by default, at least for me, in the game, in Assetto Rally, shift up was the right shift key and shift down was the right control key. So if you go to other, you can actually scroll down and you can find those specific keys right here, right shift key and then right control key on the list. Okay, so you add two key emulations, put those two keys. If you want to change them in the game, then by all means do that. Just make sure that it matches here, whatever keys they are. And then where it says roll, you're going to type, and it's got to be the exact same as what it is on the list over here. So capital S for shift, and then capital U for the up, and then on the other one, capital S for shift, and then capital D for down, right? So you got shift up and shift down, and then you're just going to click OK on that. Okay, so now you end up with these extra couple of things down here at the bottom. What it'll say is it'll say right shift key and it'll say shift up next to it, right control key, shift down. Okay, now what this is doing, and I can actually show you up here, you'll see it light up. So on this shift up one here, it'll light up when I pull this back. It's super faint, but it's like a really faint red when it activates. Okay, so it registers on the controller that I activated, that action right there, and it relays it to the shift up action here. Okay, now when it outputs this, it's also going to emulate it to this key that we just told it to map it to the keyboard. Okay, now once you have that, you're gonna you gotta have a phone. You're gonna click this open mapping assistant on my phone button here, and it will open a QR code looking thing here. You'll take open your camera on your phone and do that. I mean, you can type it into a mobile browser as well. It tells you how to do that, but it's just easier to do the QR code. Once you do that, it's going to open up on your phone. Okay, it's gonna look something like this. It's gonna have all these buttons, green buttons on the side It's going to have a big list of all those actions that were already pre-designated when we installed BJoy. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go into the game, and you can test it if you would like. I tested it when I originally did it. I don't know if you need to, but if you come into the game and you go to inputs, okay, and then I go to gear up right here, and I click this button. It wants you to assign a button. Okay, so we're talking about gear up. So on my phone, I'm going to click that green button that says simulate for shift up. Okay, and when I did that, now it registered that it was the right shift key. Okay, and you can do the same thing for gear down. If we do that, we can hit this. It registers that it's the right control. Okay. I don't know if you actually need to do that, because all you're doing is emulating the button that was already there. However, I did do that just in case, and that's it. Now when you go into the stage, when you load up the car, you go into the stage, you should be able to pull your stick and it will emulate the key on the keyboard for that action. Now, one key thing you have to have up here at the top where it says active controller device, it has to be on automatic so that it can switch between the different devices while everything is going. If you have it set to just racing wheel, when you're actually on stage and racing, it's only going to register these keys for the racing wheel, okay? Which we don't want, because we need it to register the keyboard input as well. So this needs to be on automatic, and that's it. Go in there, you should have full control to be able to use your shifter again. Like I said, that should fix it for everybody. That was not why I needed it. I wanted my paddles and the sequential to be able to work at the same time, and they don't have that option in here yet. So that's why I figured this out. Hopefully it helped you guys. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch. I will put the link, but if you just search for Sheepdog0714 on Twitch, you'll find me. I appreciate it. Thanks.